You walked into a store last year and paid $20 for something. You walked in again last month and paid $26 for the exact same thing. Nothing changed. Same product, same brand, same shelf. So what happened? Here's what they don't tell you. The price didn't go up because the company got greedy. It didn't go up because of inflation in the traditional sense. It went up because of a decision made in Washington, D.C., a decision that most people your age were never taught to understand. It's called a tariff, and right now tariffs are quietly making your phone, your car, your clothes, your groceries, and basically everything you buy more expensive. And almost nobody in school ever sat you down and explained what they actually are or how they work. That's not an accident. Understanding tariffs means understanding how governments shape the economy, who wins, who loses, and who always ends up paying the bill. Spoiler: it's us. It's always us. But here's what they should have told you. By the end of this, you're going to know exactly what a tariff is, how it works in plain English, why the US is using them heavily right now, and most importantly, what it actually means for your wallet every single time you buy something. No economics degree required, no jargon without an explanation, just the real thing. Let's get into it. Okay, start from zero. A tariff is a tax. That's it. That's the whole thing at its core. But it's a very specific kind of tax. It's a tax that a government charges on goods coming into the country from another country. So let's say a company in Vietnam makes sneakers and ships them to the United States to sell here. When those sneakers cross the border into the US government says, cool, but you owe us a percentage of the value of these shoes before they can enter. That percentage, that's the tariff. Let me break that down with a real number. If a pair of sneakers is worth $50 and the tariff rate is 20%, the importer pays $10 to the US government just for bringing those shoes in. Now here's the critical part that nobody explains. The company importing those sneakers doesn't just eat that $10 cost and move on. They pass it on to the store, and the store passes it on to you. So you show up at the register, and that $50 shoe is now $60, and you have no idea why. This is the thing people get wrong about tariffs. They think the foreign company pays it. They technically do at the border, but the real cost almost always flows straight to the consumer, to the person at the end of the chain, you. Okay, so if tariffs make things more expensive for regular people, why do governments use them? Good question. There are actually a few reasons, and they sound reasonable on paper. Here's where it gets complicated. Reason 1: protecting domestic industries. Let's say American companies make steel, and then China starts making steel and selling it to the world at a much lower price because their labor costs less. American steel companies can't compete. They start losing money. Workers lose jobs. Whole towns that depend on those factories start to suffer, so the government steps in and says, we're going to put a tariff on imported steel. Now foreign steel is more expensive. Now American steel is competitive again. American companies survive. American workers keep their jobs. That's the argument. And honestly, in certain situations, it makes sense. Reason 2: leverage in negotiations. Sometimes a tariff is used like a threat. Country A says to country B, if you don't change this trade policy, we're going to slap a big tariff on your goods. It's economic pressure, a bargaining chip, a way to get what you want without going to war. Reason 3: raising government revenue. Before the US even had an income tax, tariffs were the main way the federal government made money. They're less common as a revenue tool now, but it's still part of the picture. Here's the thing though. Every single one of these reasons has a real cost, and that cost lands on consumers and small businesses first. When there's a tariff on steel, yes, American steel workers might be protected. But every American company that builds things using steel, cars, appliances, construction equipment, now has to pay more for their materials, and they pass that cost to you. There is no free lunch here. Every tariff is a trade-off. Let's talk about the current moment, because this isn't just theory. As of 2025, the United States is in the middle of one of the most aggressive tariff periods in modern history. The Trump administration announced sweeping new tariffs on goods from dozens of countries, with the biggest and most dramatic ones targeting China. At their peak announcement, tariffs on Chinese goods hit 145%. Let me say that again, 145%. That means if a product from China costs $100 to import, the importer now owes the US government $145 in taxes before it even gets off the boat. For a lot of products, that doesn't just make them more expensive, it makes importing them financially impossible. Because you can't sell a product for twice what it costs to import and expect anyone to buy it. And here's where it hits your everyday life directly. Think about what comes from China: electronics, phones, laptops, toys, tools, clothes, furniture, the raw materials inside almost everything you own. The US and China reached a temporary agreement in May 2025 to pull back from the highest tariff levels while negotiations continue. But even the reduced tariffs, sitting around 30%, are still historically high, and economists across the board say prices are going to reflect that. Meet Alex. Alex is 22, just landed a first real job, finally has a paycheck, finally trying to build something. Alex wants to buy a used car, replace an aging laptop, and maybe start putting away a little money. But the used car market got crushed when new car production slowed during earlier supply chain problems, and now new tariffs on auto parts from Mexico and Canada are pushing new car prices up again, which pushes used car prices up again. The laptop Alex wants? Most electronics are assembled in China or use components from there. Everything Alex budgeted for in January costs more by April. This is not bad luck. This is policy. And Alex, like most of us, was never taught to read the signs before they hit the wallet. Okay, so now you know what's happening. The question is, well, what do you actually do with this information? Because understanding tariffs doesn't just make you smarter at dinner. It should change how you make decisions right now. Here's the practical playbook. First, buy durable goods sooner rather than later when tariffs are rising. This one matters. If you're planning to buy something expensive, a laptop, a TV, a car, and you know tariffs on those categories just went up or are about to, waiting doesn't help you. The price is going up. Buy it now if you were going to buy it anyway. This isn't panic buying, it's just reading the room. Second, look at where things are made before you buy. Not every product is made in a country with heavy tariffs. You have options. Buying from companies that manufacture in countries not subject to the highest tariffs, like some in Southeast Asia or Latin America, can mean lower prices right now. Start turning things over, check the label. It sounds small, it's not. Third, understand when the store is using tariffs as an excuse. Here's the part that should make you a little skeptical. Some companies will use tariff announcements as cover to raise prices more than the tariff actually justifies. If a tariff adds 5% to the cost of a product and a company raises their price by 20%, they're padding their margin and blaming trade policy. This is real. It happens. You can't always catch it, but being aware of it means you price compare more aggressively during these periods. Fourth, understand what this does to your saving strategy. If you're trying to save money right now, a tariff environment means your cost of living is going up in ways that are genuinely outside your control. That's not a budgeting failure. That's an economic reality. It means you adjust your savings expectations honestly. It means you look at your budget and say, what category of spending has gone up not because of my choices, but because of trade policy? And you plan around that with clear eyes instead of blaming yourself. Jordan is 17, working a part-time job, saving up for the first time. Jordan noticed that the same pair of headphones that cost $65 6 months ago now costs $82. Jordan thought, did I miss a sale? Did I wait too long? No. The tariff rate on electronics from China increased. That $17 difference is mostly that. Jordan didn't make a mistake. Jordan just didn't have the information to know what was happening. You do now. Fifth, and this is the big one, pay attention to how your elected officials vote on trade policy. This is not a political statement. This is a civic one. Tariffs are not weather. They are not random acts of the economy. They are deliberate decisions made by specific people who hold specific offices, and those decisions have a direct line to the price you pay for your phone, your groceries, and your first car. When you understand that, voting stops feeling abstract. It starts feeling like something that costs you real money when you ignore it. You don't have to agree with any particular trade policy, but you should know who made it, why they made it, and what it costs you. Here's the one thing I want you to walk away with today. The price going up isn't always random. It isn't always corporate greed, though sometimes it is. It isn't always inflation, though that's real too. Sometimes the price goes up because a decision was made in a government building that affects every single product crossing every border into this country. Tariffs are a tool. Like any tool, they can be used well or used badly. Smart people disagree about when they help and when they hurt, but what is not debatable is this. When tariffs go up, consumers pay more. Almost every time, you are now one of the few people your age who actually understands the mechanism, who can look at a price tag and trace it back to its source. That's not just knowledge, that's power. Here's your one action for today. The next time you buy something and the price seems higher than you expected, check the news. Seriously. Search the product category plus the word tariff and see what comes up. You will be surprised how often there's a direct connection. You are not crazy for noticing prices are up. You are not bad at budgeting. The system changed and nobody told you. Now you know. If this helped you understand something that's been quietly messing with your money, follow along, because this is exactly what we do here. Every week. The stuff they should have taught you but didn't.